Good morning. It is Monday. It is my day of reckoning. You can see behind me the mess that I have. This is my death pile. See, it was a bedroom, so you can see that there's a mattress and stuff back there. I'm going to get rid of all that. I am going to turn this room into my storage room, so I'm going to build shelves for, let's whip around here, all my tubs. As you can see, I got them just stacked in here. I hate that. It's very inefficient. So I want to make sure that I get this addressed right away before spring hits, garage sale season hits here. So that's my goal. Oh man, I'm a little worried. Look at that stuff. Oh my. I'll get it though. I'll get it. Stay tuned. All right, so you can see I moved some of the death pile out of here. I made it back to the bed frames. There's a twin, and then I think that's a queen back there. So I'm going to have to get them out of here. There's still a little, let's see, I don't know how to do this very well. A little bit here, and let's go in here. And still a little bit right here. But it's piled up, and I even left me a little area to walk and to get those beds out of here. So keep going. Let's try that again. One more. Let's take a look at that. Let's go. Okay. Oh, I got some wall space. Okay. So what I'm going to have here, these will be shelves this way, shelves this way. That'll hold those red and black tubs. I will do the measurements. I'll show you guys how I do that. But I'm going to build mine out of 2x4s, out of wood. I'm not going to buy racks because I have a feeling the dimensions of this room, I haven't measured it yet, that there's not going to be a rack that will fit perfectly. I want to utilize as much space as I can. So before I continue on in that room, it is time for Do the Podcast. So we're going to hook up with Devin here in just a minute, and we're going to record a podcast, and then we're going to get back at it. So excited. Let's go. My podcast is over. Time to get back to this. I'm just going to work a little bit longer today on it, but I'm going to start listing here in just a minute, and then I will go get some wood tomorrow, and I'll show you what we're going to do for shelves. So let's keep it going. I've got the wall cleaned off. Well, this part of it. I'm going to do shelves over here too, but I'm going to do these first so I can bring some tubs in, which will make more room for this other stuff so I can get it out and finish. So what I've got, you can kind of see here, is a blank wall, but in my situation, it's cinder block behind here. This is like a basement area, so sorry about the lighting, it's just in this room. So they put up drywall right on top of cinder block. So I'm not gonna be able to run just standard screws into this wall. I'm gonna have to do some tapcons, which I'll pre-drill with a masonry bit, run those tapcons in, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do. But the first things first, I measured my tubs. So you have to measure the biggest distance of your tub, because usually they're kind of tapered. So like for mine, the top is the largest. So mine measure about, and I rounded up so I'd have extra room, 20 inches wide by 29 inches long by 16 inches tall. Mine are fairly large. I like the bigger boxes. I can get more in it, and I'm strong enough to go ahead and move them in and out. If it's something that you are worried about how heavy it's going to be, then you'll have to downsize, either do smaller tubs or like banker's boxes, something like that. But for me, I do these big tubs. I get them at my orange box store And I think they're about $14 for a tub, which I'm fine with because I like the durability of them. It's not a box. I never have to worry about them breaking down or anything. But the first things first is I've got to get this laid out to see where each of my shelves are going to be. So I'm going to work on that right now. All right, so I've got it laid out. Let me see if I can, I don't know if you can see, got some marks here. What it is you have to kind of be prepared for how your shelf is going to be built. So what I'm going to have is I'm going to start to screw on. Now I have a concrete block wall, so it's a little different for me. If you have wooden studs, you're going to want to put a screw in each stud or every other stud, depending on how much weight you're going to have on it. But I'm going to be putting on here what's called a cleat. And mine is going to be, let's see, this is a 2x4. You can see I have a line on the wall. That represents the top of my shelf. Okay, so I'm going to drop down. I'm using 3/4 inch particle board for the top of my shelf. So my cleat from that line has to go down 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if you could see, is I've already pre-drilled a hole right here. I'm going to run my masonry bit into the cinder block and run a screw or a Tapcon, which is a blue masonry screw, into the center hole right here. And then I'm going to put a level on it to make sure it's level, and then run some more screws. I'll show you here in a second. And the way I have this standing upright is the strongest structurally for a 2x4. When it's on end like this, where the 3.5 inches is tall, I'm kind of holding it, so it's kind of hard to show you. Structurally, that's the strength of the wood is in this position. So the weight's going to be pushing down on it, and it's going to be pretty solid in the back. And I'll show you what I'm going to do on the front. All right, so I got my first one kind of temporarily in there. I put my 4-foot level on. This is almost an 8-foot wall. So this is it's actually what's called a pre-cut. It's 92 5/8 2x4. For when you're framing a house, you'll typically use 92 5/8 because they pre-cut them for you, which makes it quicker, because 96 inches is too tall, because you'll have, typically when you're building a house, you'll have a bottom 2x4 and a top 2x4. And that 3 inches is what makes up your 8-foot wall. So that's why they're cut to 92 5/8. So in my situation, because there's drywall on each side, my room is actually a little smaller than 96, and I don't want to have any waste. So I'm actually about 3/4 of an inch, in at each end, which is fine for a cleat. Not a big deal. It doesn't have to be tight to the wall. So I've got a center pin right here, which gives me the ability to teeter this board back and forth till it's level. So I'm level, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and run some screws along here to put my first cleat in. And so I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so the studs are playing a little hide and seek. So I think I figured out how they didn't build this wall correctly at all. What I thought was a whole block wall ends up being the footer down there. So that's why I saw the cinder block. And then I started to drill for these masonry screws, and it's hollow behind here. So of course I ran across this way trying to find the studs that would be vertical in a wall like you would normally have. Well, it didn't have any. It's completely hollow all the way across here. I'm like, there has to be something, because the wall doesn't push in, and there's no block there because I drilled through everything and I hit nothing. So I went ahead and ran my stud finder vertically, and I think they built this wall, the studs going horizontal, like at 3 foot on center. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. But I have to deal with that. So I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this stud, remove it, or this cleat, remove it, and I'm going to stand it up and try to run it in those horizontal studs that are behind this drywall for strength. And I'll probably put 3 up, and then I can continue on. So here we go. Okay, so we got to change of plans, because the way this wall is built, I've got it figured out now. Up to this point right here, down to the floor, is concrete block directly behind this drywall. So they didn't put a vapor barrier. They didn't do it right. This is actually right up against the cinder block wall. Now, from this point up to the ceiling, they ran studs horizontal, and they laid them flat or tall ways, just like this cleat looks. But they ran it, let's see if I can, there's one right here, and then there's another one up here. Now, they're not the distance that I wanted, because I'm very OCD about that stuff. So like all my shelves, I wanted 19 inches apart. So what I'm gonna do in an effort to save time, because it needs to be function over fashion, I'm gonna go ahead and, where did marks go? Right here. I'm gonna put my next 2x4 here, or my cleat here. Now it won't be 19 inches like you see there. It's gonna be a little bit larger, but I have the extra room at the top. So it's not gonna actually hurt how many tubs I can get in here. It's just gonna move things along a little quicker and be a little bit stronger, because I'm gonna be attaching it straight to another 2x4 behind the drywall. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right, so I've got, or I have those two are actually screwed in with 3-inch wood screws. These two down here are screwed in with, actually these two down here are screwed in with Tapcons, which are, let me show you one, in case you don't know what a Tapcon is. They're a little blue, I shouldn't say little. These are a 1/4 inch by, I think it's quarter inch by 3 1/4 long, and they have a hex head on the back. And normally when you buy a package of these at your local home improvement store, they'll come with the actual masonry bit that belongs to this size Tapcon. So it's really easy. Just a hammer drill works best. You can use a regular drill. It just gets hot. So those down there, let me see if I'm pointing to the right ones. Those two are bolted in or screwed in with these Tapcon masonry screws. And then these upper two are screwed in with 3-inch long wood screws. I don't use drywall screws. I use these actual exterior grade. They're like more for decking and stuff like that. Just drywall screws just have a tendency to shear quicker, and they're like a hardened screw, and they snap a lot easier. So these are a little stronger for what I'm working with, and I just happen to have a bunch of this stuff laying around because I used to build houses. So you'll notice that my distance is different, and that's because I just wanted to utilize the way they built this wall. Like I said, function over fashion. So those are strong. So these cleats are ready. Now what I'm going to do is, on this adjacent wall, I'm going to run a 24-inch board out to here, another cleat, because the plywood obviously is 4 foot by 8 foot long. This room is just under 8 foot long. So if I cut that board in half, that gives me 24 inches. And so that's what I'll make this. My tubs are a little longer than that, but it's not going to hurt to have them overhanging the shelf a little bit. It's not going to hurt a thing. The majority of the weight's going to be, like, let's see, 29 inches are mine, and that's, I rounded up, so about 28. So they're going to sit on here just fine. 4 inches hanging over is not a big deal at all. Might make it easier to tip them down and stuff like that when I'm digging out the inventory for when I'm shipping. So let's get these 2-footers up here. Okay, got the cleats up on that side. Whoop. And on this side. Now, over here, I will be extending the shelves down this wall here. It's just right now, I want to get these 4 set up so I can get the tubs on, so it'll open up some more room down here. So these are all screwed in. You see all those? Okay. Now, how I do this next piece, because obviously I just can't lay plywood on there and expect it to support the weight of those tubs. So I'm going to have to, I got a small piece here. Typically you want to run your 2x4s this direction when the weight's on top, because that structurally, it'll hold the most weight this way without bowing over time. Now, what I don't want to do is this. The reason for it, on the front of the shelf, if I do all of the shelves with 3.5 inch tall, just like this, I'm losing 3.5 inches of space every shelf I go up, because the tub has to fit underneath that. So I'm going to go like this, and this will be my front edge. Now, I'm not going to span 8 foot like this. I am going to put a leg down the middle, and I have the room. Because of the width of my tubs, I can get 4 tubs across and still lose that 1.5 inch leg that I'm going to have go to the floor. So this will look like this. Let's see if I can do this. It's going to look like this, okay? And in order to, I know I'm kind of crooked, but in order to hold the weight, I'm going to have to put some underneath here like this. So what they're going to do is, I'll have one like this, and then the next one will go down to the next one. That'll be flipped like this, and it'll go down to the next one. So it's going to be supported all the way to the floor. It'll be kind of like a puzzle, but that's going to support all the weight on this front corner right here. So let's do that next. Okay, so let me flip this. This is kind of how it's going to be. You can kind of see it runs all along here. Now, structurally, that's not any good. I mean, this is just gonna bounce. So what I have to do is I'm gonna cut some pieces. Let's see if I can get this. And they're gonna go like that. And then the next one's gonna sit on top of it. Now, I will, right here in the center, I'll have it's hard to do. I'll have a post going from the floor all the way up, connecting all the shelves together to take up that bounce and to give it a little more structural integrity down the center. And then I'll be ready for the particle board, 3/4 inch. So let's keep moving. Okay, so I've got the frames built. You can see, let me pan over here. There they are. This is supported, like each being that I laid it flat. Normally I'd want to stand them up. That gives it the most structure, but I don't want to lose that space for my tub. So I'm laying them flat. I do have, I don't know if I can get a close up right here. See how it's sandwiched in there? Again, I'm not looking for fashion. I just need to get these done. So these walls are a little off and I didn't care about the little gaps like that. That's not going to hurt the structure of this. So what I'm going to do next is put the 3/4 inch particle board on top of each of these shelves. And then I'm going to come back and put a center support or a leg all the way through here. Now that one's going to be a little more tricky. You could piece it like I did, like I showed you how I sandwiched it. You could do that here, but I don't want to do it that way. I want it a little stronger. So what I'm going to do is notch every shelf out on 1 2x4, maybe 2 of them side by side to give it just like look like a 4x4. Just a really good sturdy support in the middle. I haven't decided yet. I might just do one. It's probably going to be plenty for just these tubs of eBay stuff. So that's next. Looking good. All right, here's my frame. Whoop. I'm going to get some 3/4 inch particle board, and that's what I'm going to do next. Here we go. All right. I'm sweating here. You can see the shelf boards are on. I could not get these shelves in one piece. No matter which way I angled it, twisted it, turned it, would not fit. So I ended up having to cut them in half. So I have like 2 4-foot shelves versus one big long 8-foot shelf, which it was easier to move anyways by myself. But you can see the middle is right here. This is where my leg or my post is going to go from floor all the way up to help support the rest of this. So I'm going to work on that next. But you can see it's a lot of shelf space. I'm going to be able to get 1 2 3 4 5 high. And I'm pretty sure 1 2 3 4. So I'll be able to get 20 of my tubs on just this one section. And then like I'm still going to come across here. So very excited. I know there's a little bit of gap. I don't care because the leg or the post is going to go right there on that gap, which means a tub can't go there anyway. So it's not a big deal to me. So keep it moving. Okay. I put in this leg or this post. And what I went ahead and did, I was going to do some notching, but I figured it's just going to be a lot quicker. Remember, I'm looking for function, not fashion. So what I did was cut individual pieces to go in between each shelf. And what's happening is it's carrying the load down through each post all the way to the floor. So it acts as just a complete leg carrying the load of each shelf, pushing on the next, which pushes on the next, which down to the floor. So very sturdy. I could hang off this. So it's going to be plenty. I was bouncing on it. It wasn't even moving. So I know that this is going to be plenty strong for the tubs, for the 20 tubs that I can get on here. So I'm very excited. I really do think I'm done. I'm not going to paint it or anything. I don't care about that. I think I'm going to start loading it up. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I don't know if I can. I mean, I'm in it for about $220 in lumber, which is sky high right now. That used to be half that. I know I have a little time in it, but if you went out and bought a rack, say from a box store or whatnot, you'd still have time assembling it. And I was able to make this according to the size of my wall and my tubs. I'm not going to be that fortunate. I almost have to buy a rack and then find the tubs or boxes that will fit it. This way, it's customized to my size of my room, size of my tubs, and it is going to hold plenty of weight. Let's get those tubs on there. All right, so you'll notice I mentioned just a second ago that I was going to put the post like dead center. But what I did is I went ahead and measured from that wall over the width of 2 tubs, and that came about 40 inches. So I went ahead and measured 41 inches to give me just a little bit of room for the tubs, and that's where I put this post. So I know This room is like this way. I have plenty, but I didn't want that post to be just in a bad spot to where maybe it's going to throw my tubs off. So I figured I can easily get 2 tubs right here. I'll have 2 tubs here, and that'll leave me a little room on the corner for some of the bigger items. Let's say like a Keurig or a food processor, something that, or even a VCR, something that wouldn't fit in a tub. That's going to leave me, you know, about 6 inches over here on the end, and maybe a little bit more to go ahead and stack those items there. So I think this is going to work out pretty good. All right, I finished them up. You can see my tubs. I need to go get some more. I still have, like, I got a spot there, but I have a tub in the other room that's supposed to go in there, but it's a different kind of tub, so I want to swap it over. But you can see, well, you can't see it really. I still have some tubs that need storage, so I didn't have, like, I'm building another set behind me, and that'll complete my whole set. So as of right now, there's room for 20 of these. And most people don't like the real big tubs, but I like them because I can get a lot more in it, and I don't mind the weight of it. So you can kind of see how that turned out. Like I said, I have one more that's got to go up there. But I'm very excited. Like, I have my system of numbers, but I have a spreadsheet. And so every item that I have listed has a number and a description, where I bought it, how much I bought it for. When it sells, I can put how much it sells for, what the eBay fees are, shipping, and then my net and gross profits are all on there. And so I'm so afraid of getting things mixed up. Like, I see a lot of eBay resellers, like, all their shoes will go in one tub, all their video games will go on one shelf. And what if you had 2 Guitar Hero games, or what if you had 2 shoes that look similar in 2 different sizes? I don't want to grab the wrong thing. So what I do is they each get a number, and then I bag the ones in a clear poly plastic bag, and I write the number on the bag, and then I put it in the tub just to kind of make sure that I don't ever grab the wrong item and ship it out. I mean, it works pretty well for me. There are some things that can't go in a bag, but that's pretty obvious what that'll be. I don't need it to be marked. But you can see here, and I have a little room on this side here, which I knew I was going to have that. And what I'm going to do is stand up a lot of my like DVD combos or VCR combos, and I have some stereo equipment, stuff like that, the bigger stuff, a Keurig. Those things will stand up in there. And then I have a slot along the wall. There's a little shelf at the bottom. You can't really see it, but where I can stand up some of the taller things. Like right now, you can see I have some shuffleboard sticks, some baseball bats leaning up there. It's not in the way. It's not going to be there forever. That's not where I plan on doing it, but eventually, like, I have a window here. This is going to be my, if I could turn here, this will be my shipping center. So I'll be able to grab right from here, go to my packaging up, get it shipped out. So that's my goal. This is the first start. I mean, like I said, it's 3/4 inch particle board and 2x4s. That's it, other than screws. That's all there is. Cost me about $220 for this setup, not including the tubs. I really like how it turned out and how strong it is. Those do seem a little high, and the only reason is because I had to adjust the shelving based on how they built that wall behind there, and they didn't do it right, but I had to kind of adjust to that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Maybe give you some ideas if you wanted to kind of do a shelf for yourself. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, like how I built it, what I used, what some of my measurements were. Feel free to comment and I'll answer your questions. But this is my setup. Now, it's not going to work for everybody, obviously, based on your room and your layout and everything. But for me, it's going to be awesome because I'm going to be able to get another 10 behind me and still have room to create a shipping little center here where I'll stack all my UPS or USPS boxes, bubble wrap, tape, stuff like that, and still have a counter set up to where I can go ahead and get everything wrapped up. So I'm pretty excited. This room's probably 11 or 12 by 10. Nah, probably 8 by 12. And this is a really good start for me. I'm getting so tired of unstacking all the tubs and have to stack them back up. This is going to make everything so much more efficient. So definitely look forward to using this tomorrow because I have some orders I'm going to have to ship out. So I'm excited about that. So make sure if you like this video, give me a huge thumbs up. Subscribe down below so you get notifications for when the next video comes out. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one. I'm sure the next one won't be about me building a shelf. It'll probably be more about sourcing, garage sales, thrift stores, stuff like that. But I just thought this would be interesting, maybe give somebody some ideas. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It's John with SEVIER Thrifters. See ya.